Greetings, sports fans nationwide. You have entered the Sports Opinion Log here in Lex Anderson World. Top 1%er People Sportscaster. Last night, UFC 259. Shout out to my sister Allie P for coming through. 3 title fights, and this card, as per our conversation, needed all 3 title fights because one of them was like, what the fuck? The second one was, what the hell? And the third and final one, the main event, was, well, I saw that coming. So I'm going to break down all 3 title fights, including, again, shout out to my sister Allie P, why being a double champ, the quest isn't the most difficult. It's actually the ability to retain both titles. And I'm going to break it down right here, right now. So let's go. So in the men's bantamweight title fight, we had Petr Yan getting disqualified at the 4-minute and 29-second mark in round number 4, throwing an illegal knee to the head of his opponent, Aljamain Sterling, who, as a result, is the new UFC men's bantamweight champion. Totally egregious. What was Yan thinking? What was his corner thinking? And to everybody out there on social media, the ignorant masses and the sheeple who want to say that Aljamain was faking it and all this bullshit, why don't you try entering a title fight? And why don't you try taking an unsuspected knee to your head? Thankfully, he didn't get his nose broken or suffered a fracture of his eye socket. I mean, like, it was crazy, totally unexpected, very disappointing on Jan's part and his cornerman, too, for instructing him to do such a thing. And also, Aljamain Sterling, I definitely did not appreciate his attitude as he was being crowned the champion. You got to get it how you live it, man. Those are the rules. So fuck DC, Daniel Cormier, and Joe Rogan crying about how the rules have to be changed. And a special double fuck you to the ref who kept waiting longer than necessary for the fight to be called. Like, you could clearly see Aljamain wasn't getting up, was incapable of getting up, kept falling back down, and here's the ref. Do you think you could fight? Do you think you could fight? It took him forever to call in the ring doctor to check him out. So, hey, the rules are the rules. You get it how you live it. And you could definitely tell that Aljamain Sterling was concussed because in his post-fight interview, he thought he was putting on one of the greatest title fights, if not one of the greatest bantamweight fights in UFC history, which was totally incorrect. So both guys will have to play it back, and we'll see what happens. But Aljamain definitely needs to go back to the drawing board and come up with a better game plan. In the women's featherweight, we had champ Amanda Nunes taking on Megan Anderson, who I had lifted and exalted and, not put on a pedestal, but I was like, oh, she's on a mission. This is going to be her moment. And you know how she reacted? She reacted like a deer in headlights, getting submitted at the 2-minute and 3-second mark in round number 1, as Amanda Nunes is still women's UFC featherweight champion. And of course, she has no issues with being on top of the mountain for both divisions, being the champ. And she will, at this point, as far as I can see, continue to collect easy paychecks. But it's not really easy paychecks because she puts in the work to be what she is. And that's a successful double champ defending both of her titles. However, I will have to express severe disappointment in Megan Anderson, who I had hyped up with her build, her long frame, but I had said she cannot let Amanda Nunes bulldoze her. I thought she was going to come through aggressive with some kicks. Instead, Amanda Nunes was the one doing the kicking, and then she just ran up on her, and that was all she wrote. I'm horribly disappointed in Megan Anderson, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And as for, and by the way, one last thing, just let you know, if you're watching, shout out to my boy Bobby, the Prophet. I did decree that Megan Anderson would win, and unfortunately she lost. But a disclaimer for all of the Prophet's decrees, it's only entertainment if you choose to go with my decrees and actually put money on it and suffer a loss as a result. Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't fall on the top 1%er, People Sportscaster Lex Anderson. Now, of course, we had the main event, men's light heavyweight championship. Adesanya trying to move up in weight to take the title from Yan Blachowicz, and it did not work out as Yan is still UFC men's light heavyweight champion, earning the unanimous decision 49-46, 49-45, and 49-45. So now Adesanya falls from the ranks of the unbeatens. He is now 20-1. And of course, I'm not going to express any hate or any ridicule. Hey, he dared to be great, like he said. He lays it on the line. Like I said, this society, there's more losers than winners out there in the world. And when you have the ignorant masses and the sheeple saying their silly 2 cents peanut gallery commentary that doesn't mean shit, it's the people like Adesanya, and it's people like me, Lex Anderson, also of Nigerian descent, who come out here and lay it on the line each and every time. So to the naysayers and the haters, fuck all y'all. And let's face it, Yan 220, Adesanya coming in at 200, not even 205. He claims that the weight difference wasn't a factor, but let's be real. Those takedowns, he couldn't get up, didn't suffer a lot of punishment, says that he should have changed up his technique, but it is what it is. So his quest for double champ has failed, but however, again, shout out to my sister Ali P. In our discussions, there's actually a myth about the greatness of being a double champ or a champ, and I'm going to explain why. In Adesanya's quest to become a double champion, which was halted, which also goes to show that his shit-talking about and towards my boy Bones Jones was totally erroneous, and he would have gotten annihilated if Bones Jones didn't do him the favor and give up his light heavyweight championship to move up to become a soon-to-be heavyweight champion. If Adesanya couldn't get past Yan, do you really think he could have gotten past and defeated Bones Jones, the man that no man on the planet has ever beaten? Thank you. That's all I'm saying. So, of course, Conor Maniac McGregor became the first champ, being UFC featherweight and lightweight champion. Featherweight when he had beaten Jose Aldo in 13 seconds, the fastest UFC title fight in UFC history. And then he took the lightweight championship from Eddie Alvarez. But Conor Maniac McGregor wound up actually being stripped of both titles due to inactivity. What does that say? And then, of course, he tried to take on Khabib, and that was, of course, a failure in his quest to get the lightweight championship back. So, again, Conor Maniac McGregor, yeah, he might be the first champ, but due to inactivity, again, was stripped of both titles. The guy I can't stand the most, Daniel Cormier, DC, also double champ, light heavyweight champion, and UFC heavyweight champion. As we already know, Bones Jones had defeated him. However, due to testing positive, DC got the belt back, which he successfully defeated Volkan Ozdemir. And then he took on Stipe Miocic and stunned him to become a champ. So in defeating Volkan, he successfully defended his light heavyweight championship, and then he beat Derek Lewis to become the first UFC fighter to simultaneously defend 2 championships. But of course, we know in the rematch and in the trilogy, Stipe Miocic put the hands to DC, and as a result, DC wound up retiring. And let's not forget, he also had actually vacated the light heavyweight championship a day before UFC 232. So again, as you can see, not a lot of success has followed guys who win 2 titles. And let's not forget Henry Cueto, UFC flyweight and bantamweight champion. He had defeated Demetrius Johnson, in which he had shocked the world, to become the flyweight champion. And then 2 fights later, stepped up to bantamweight, defeating Marlon Moraes to complete the double champ thing. However, after that, he vacated the flyweight championship, defended the bantamweight title against Dominic Cruz, beat him in the second round, and then, as he was about to be a rising star, chose to retire. Which leaves us with Amanda Nunes, who is, of course, is the UFC women's bantamweight and featherweight champion. Amanda Nunes had taken the title from Miesha Tate at UFC 200, and then in her first title defense, she devastated, destroyed, and retired Ronda Rousey, who left later on to go to WWE. And then she defended her title two more times, and then she added the women's featherweight championship to her other shoulder when she shocked the world by defeating Chris Cyborg in 51 seconds. And since that moment, she's added two more women's bantamweight title defenses. And since defeating Cyborg, she has made two additional bantamweight title defenses and one featherweight defense. And of course, number two occurred last night where she retained to become and still UFC Women's Featherweight Champion of the World, Amanda Nunes. So there you have it, sports fans nationwide. There's the history. The legacy of being a champ doesn't actually equate to success, at least in the long term, pertaining to the men. Amanda Nunes, she's at the top of the mountain. She's the one who's controlling both divisions, cleaning out both divisions. So salutes to her and her legacy and her imprint in mixed martial arts and in the UFC. Thank you very much, sports fans nationwide, for tuning in. Until next time at UFC 260, Lex Anderson signing out.